So From Season 2 has come to an end with Episode 10, Once Upon a Time. Hello, Kitty.
Hi, Bean.
She has something to say about it, so we'll let her go first.
What else?
No? All right. Well, we got our questions answered in some capacity, and now new questions.
Yeah.
Which is what to expect. Were there enough questions answered in this finale for you to be satisfied? And also yearn for more in the the years to come?
Honestly, yes. I feel like I'm excited to see what comes next because I think that we get a huge revelation at the end of this episode in this season.
Yeah.
That has now further speculation that we can go down because there's a lot. I think there's one main thing we'll talk about that it could be, but there's maybe other variations of it.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued by it. I'm very curious, and yeah, I'm gonna say yes. What about you? How do you feel?
Yeah. I was pretty into it. Because you're always wanting more from something, like when it comes to these season finales and you're like stressed about the time left. When Ellison and Fatima are getting married.
Oh, I know.
I was like, can we stop wasting so much screen time on this? Like,
Yeah.
they're in love. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Right.
But we're like, we got like 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
We better get some more revelations here. But thankfully, some big things happened after that. So I was good. But in that moment, I was like, if we're wasting all the time, like if this is the rest of the episode, I'm going to be pissed. Because it was like 7-8 minutes at least. And I was just like, no. Let's not focus on this too much. But as I said, we got enough going on here that I was pleased enough. Yeah. One thing this episode finally started to do, which is something you and I and other people in the comments have been complaining about, is like it felt like people were finally starting to connect informational dots. Where it was like, oh, this person had this experience and this kind of matches up with this person. And it's like, dude, you could have got to these revelations weeks ago, months ago, had you guys just communicated with one another.
Yeah.
So that was, it was like a bittersweet. Because like the whole time I'm sitting there like, yeah, you could have got there. But it's like, I'm glad they finally did.
Right.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
So we find out the fate of the three, which is an interesting reveal in the sense that, like, there's no real way for Boyd to know he was successful until he goes back.
Yeah.
So I think what was missing in that scene, which is what I told you while we were watching it, is I think that, like, Boyd should have been looking at them when he broke this music box, or at least look over at them after it was broken. And then they kind of like open their eyes or something, and then they fade off the walls, and then he like runs back to town and sees that they're okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like some confirmation that what he did, because for me, when I watch the scene, I try my best to always watch it as fiction. And it's like, it's never going to act like reality. Of course, the show itself doesn't act like reality, but you know what I mean. Like, the characters have to accept certain things. And we, the audience, know. Yeah. But we know that they don't. So, like, when Boyd crushes the thing, it's like, he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know if they're dead or not. So now maybe that will be addressed in season 3. It'll start there. And he'll run back and be like, how are they? Is everything okay?
I actually don't think that. I think season 3 is going to start maybe with a time jump. Yeah.
Okay. Which is fine. I mean, we don't need to see it. Because we know that they're okay. Right. So there's no real reason for us to see it. So if we do jump ahead a year, it's not going to matter to that. I just find it it's just one of those kind of things as a viewer, you always have to just go, TV logic.
Right, yeah.
Right? Like, he knows they're okay because he just does.
Yeah, so his wife showing up too, I don't really know what to make. Like, I don't think it's his wife, but because it just seems like...
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, it seems like what she was telling him, like, to not break the music box because they're gonna die anyway, and, like, might as well kill them sooner rather than later, and, like, the forest feeds on hope, not fear, and all of that. I think it was whatever entities are in this place, I think that was definitely using her face to try and convince him of that, because... So, just to jump to the end a little bit, like, because his wife has died... Right? If when you die, you escape. Yeah. There's no reason why she... Like, if she was trying to tell him... She
shouldn't be able to communicate with him.
Right.
Yeah.
And if she was, she would have been like, no, like, everybody needs to die in order for them to, like, escape. Like, she would have said something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in, like, a...
The only escape is in death.
Yeah.
But not, like, cryptic like that. Like,
right.
Like, if you die, you'll leave this place and be back on Earth where you were before. You have to be very specific with your words in that in that case, because there's an escape.
Death
is
course.
Yeah, of course, that's true always. But no, I agree. But yeah, is so because of the Tabitha thing, I don't want to jump too much ahead.
We can go back. I just wanted to talk about her briefly because. That happens when Boyd is breaking the music box and everything. And that we even jump ahead in the episode a little bit, but I think that's, So,
I guess I'll then pose my big question. And I think this is something that maybe not enough people are going to focus their attention on, because I'm starting to think that this means more than maybe other people will. But what is this dog? So we got this visual representation of his wife, and it's this entity that's trying to stop him for good or bad. We're not sure yet. I'm assuming bad, and he made the right decision, and the dog was there to kind of like, he's like an omen of like, you did the right thing, or like you're on the right path. Right, but what would that mean? Like, is the dog an actual dog, or is the dog like a embodiment of like the good versus the evil? Right?
Yeah. I don't know. The dog showing up again, like, I definitely am curious about it, and I think you're right. I think it's going to have more significance.
If we think about the time that the dog has arrived now, both times he's come out of that place, the dog is there. Right, that's the two times we've seen the dog, is when Boyd went into that place that he, the underground thing where the people are being held captive. The dungeon, I guess we'll call it. So after he's left the dungeon, both times, the dog is there very shortly after he leaves and is not seen again otherwise.
Right. Yeah, so there's some connection to the place.
So do you think that the guy who infected him is being able to like body swap in a way, like move through different entities, and he took on that dog, right? Like is something, I just think something is controlling that dog. It's not a dog. It just doesn't make any sense to me that it's like just some random dog is running around the woods and they just never seen it in town, right? Like that's obviously some kind of like representation or like an avatar of some sort for one of the beings that is in control or trying to send messages or something. You think they'd pick a body that could talk?
Of course, yeah, because then they could actually.
He's like, ruff, shit, and then he runs off. He's like, I picked the dog body again.
No.
It's like when you're playing freaking like a video game and you spawn in and you like go to spawn in and you spawn in the wrong freaking thing and you're like, damn it. I picked the dog again. He can't even talk.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any like idea what it could be, but I think, like I was saying, I just think you're right that it probably is much more significant than we're led to believe at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as we said, that we got the marriage.
Which is really sweet.
I think there was a pretty big missed opportunity here that could have added a huge shock value to the show.
Yeah.
And I was pretty bummed because when it started to happen, I looked at Kaylee and I was like, oh, this is going to be wild. And it ended up not being wild at all. In fact, it was super anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Is this dude who kills the guy for the gun, and then he gets the gun. And because of what he was saying last episode.
Right.
Because he was freaking out. And was just like, we're all going to die, this and that. I thought he was just going to go on an absolute mercy-killing rampage.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like, I thought he was going to go into Colony House and just shoot the place up, kill like 7, 8, 10 people before he was taken down.
I thought the same thing,
like,
too.
I'm doing you a favor. And people were like, please no. Like, and he's like, trust me, it's better this way. Right. And he's killing them. That could have even led into later, right? To where Tabitha runs into some people from Colony House out in the world and is like, how are you here? And they're like, last thing I remember, this guy came in the room with a gun. Yeah. Right? And then I woke up here.
Which does make me wonder, though, too, because I'm like, is it everybody that dies that escapes, or is there a specific, like, way that it has to happen? Like, do you have to be pushed out of the lighthouse, or like...
I hope for Sarah's sake that if anybody...
I do too.
Then she'll get her brother back.
Yeah, if it's any death, you leave, then of course that's better. But I'm curious because it's like that little boy who Sarah says, like, I don't think it's actually a little boy, right? Which is also, okay, so the little boy is not really a little boy. It's like whatever is using a little boy's face and figure to talk to people. Yeah. Same thing with Boyd's wife. Same thing with the dog, Yeah. Yeah, but I agree. I think, whenever he stole the gun, like, we both were like, oh my God, he's going to go kill everybody. And I think that would have been a huge twist and very dramatic. And what we end up getting is, as you said, very anticlimactic and very kind of just like, oh, okay, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that, but, and it doesn't really do anything. Like, I mean, He kills the guy that's watching the guns, or that's walking the guns away.
Who's like a non-character.
Yeah, and that's sad. And then when he goes to shoot Boyd, like, he shoots his shoulder, which wounds him, but
doesn't
like,
really do anything.
He still is able to get to the ruins and destroy the music box and like.
It doesn't it doesn't impede.
Right, and
his
that's what I
progress
thought.
All that much.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to do any of that. So it's kind of just like, well, now that guy's dead. But as we're saying, right, maybe Tabitha will run into him outside. Like maybe, and I'm very curious about like who, if anybody, she's going to see in this other world, and yeah.
I mean, I would love for them to come back to season 3 and we find out that, before he went and shot Boyd, that little gap window of time, he went into Colony House and, shot a few people.
Sure, I guess that's still possible, right? Like, he could have definitely still killed people.
I highly doubt it because it's a small area and gunshots carry.
Yeah.
Right? And Boyd would have heard that and he would have ran right back. So it doesn't make any sense. So it sucks. It just isn't going to happen. But it would have been way, way cooler had he walked into Colony House, shot like 5, 6 people at least. Shocking, the asshole guy who stabbed Ellis, easily kill him. Yeah. The eye patch girl. Yeah. You got a few people who are like recognizable faces, but aren't like massive characters. Honestly, I really would have thought it would. I mean, this of course would be super tragic and awful, but if you would have shot Fatima as the big character on their wedding day, and like Boyd's out. And he's like, saying goodbye, and he's like the sheriff. He's the guy who's supposed to be protecting them, but because he runs off to do his thing, and then while he's gone, Fatima, his son's freaking wife, on their wedding day gets killed by this deranged guy, along with like 5 or 6 other people. And then when they corner him, he like takes his own life or something. That would have just added such a level of holy shit, right? And so much drama for Boyd to come back to once he like comes back. And then the son, because they rekindled their, father-son relationship, for him to come back and it's broken again because it's like, they both lost their wives in that place. And he lost his mother. And it's like he blamed Boyd for it before to a degree, which he shouldn't have, but he did. And then his wife dies because he leaves. And he's like, where were you? You know, that could have added so much, and it would have added so much to this finale of like, oh my God. Like, because it would have fit what was being set up with his character in the last episode way more. It would have added way more drama and you know, wildness to this episode. Yeah. So for him to just slit that guy's throat and then like just go find Boyd, shoot him in the shoulder and get killed, it was so like, that's it?
I know.
That's all that led up to?
Yeah.
So there's a huge missed opportunity for what would make sense to that guy, right? And what would have added so much to this episode. So massive missed opportunity for me.
I agree. I definitely agree. I'm also curious next season if we're going to find out about like what the three people were seeing. Like if they were, you know, like, because they were all like screaming and reacting to stuff. Yeah. And like Paula, when she was killed, was dreaming. So I definitely am curious like what they all saw and if there's going to be any new information in that.
I mean, as we had said while we were watching it, it's very reminiscent of Stranger Things.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah. I'm also...
Because, like, Max gets that, like...
The clouded eyes when
everything. She's in... Vecna's, like, upside down, right? So, like, it could definitely be something like that, where they... And they could come back with some really impertinent information.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sure. We saw the way out, or, like, we saw, like...
What's doing this,
or like, we saw we saw that this is futile. Like, we're better off dead. They could come back real nihilistic about things too. Like, maybe. You know, they were shown horrid imagery of like their ultimate demise, and they could be just be like over it by the time they come back, even though they've been saved. You know, Randall, Marion, and Julie. Yeah, Julia. They could all come back and just be like, it was hell, and like having nightmares and just can't get it out of their head, and like they're really screwed up, and you know they could even like go down the path of Sarah in a way, right?
Yeah, like have to start killing people to, maybe for sure.
Because like Sarah has these powers, so to speak, like she can hear the music box even though like she doesn't have the light to do it. So she's connected into it in a way. So I wonder if and Tabitha and Jade are kind of connected a little bit. You know, you've got Elgin, who that whole side story
is kind
amounted to like zero this season.
It was just for him to like say like, I know this rhyme, like we have to destroy the music box. Yeah, that was a weird. I feel like his was very like not eventful in the end.
But it doesn't.
As long
as they do it in season 3 or 4 or whatever, it's fine. It's just nothing this season really.
So when Jade goes down into the tunnels and he sees that symbol in the roots, we were talking, that's the bottle tree, right? Like that's
it's got to be the bottle tree's roots. Yeah, that would make the most sense. That's like how they were able to like, you know, maybe they're you know, when they were ritualistically sacrificed, it looks like that's what was happening to them, right? They're all going to be slaughtered, and their spirits like got intertwined with the trees, right, in nature, right, and that's how they were able to kind of like, because they're under the ground, that's how they're able to kind of like possess the area, sure, and that's why it's like a ghost land. You can't get out of it, right, because of like what horrible thing was done to them back in the day underneath the ground. So, but Tabitha's supposed to go up into the lighthouse
to free them.
But Jade sees that I'm assuming those are the same kids.
Yeah, they're not in the lighthouse.
Ritualistically sacrificed in the tunnels where the monsters dwell. Yeah. The monsters just like were completely absent
the last couple episodes, for sure.
Is interesting.
It is interesting. It's almost
like the cicadas came in and they were like, well, they're, you know, these they got it. Things. Yeah.
It's
maybe because they're afraid of them.
Maybe. Yeah. But I was gonna say it's almost like Tabitha was being drawn to the lighthouse because like Victor's mom, it was like the same thing. But like Victor never saw his mom die, right? Like his mom must have just disappeared. So like if his mom got drawn to the lighthouse and got pushed out of it and got set free,
I think the tree takes you to where you need to go.
Right. But I'm saying if Victor's mom went to the lighthouse, because I don't remember if Victor found his mom's body or not, is what I'm, I guess, confused on. I don't know if he saw her dead or not, and I don't remember.
I think she just never came back.
So if that's the case, then she might have escaped as well. And if,
Sure.
like, this is the story that's, like, drawing people to the lighthouse, like, maybe it has to be specific people.
Tabitha could find
Victor's...
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she would be... Would she even be alive?
Yeah.
How old is Victor?
Probably in his 50s, so she'd probably be like in her 70s or maybe mid-70s.
Okay.
Yeah, she'd be alive.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah,
It's a good thought.
I was just meaning behind all that too is that like maybe the kids, so the kids were never in the lighthouse, the kids were never in the tower to be set free. It was just like a story used to get them there for, you know, to save them, I suppose. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the same kids, if it's like, you know, maybe they were just being held hostage in the tower, and then, you know, they took them down into the tunnels to kill them. If they even killed them in the tunnels or not, like maybe they just put them down there at first and then locked them in the tower. Like, we have no idea what ended up happening. Now, Tabitha does make it to the lighthouse. She makes her way up to the top. She gets up in there. Now, the style of lighthouse that's up there, this is a very old lighthouse, right? Like, this isn't electricity. This is gas. This is, you know, and it's a flame. So this is once again we're showing that this town is quite old. But we were very wrong about like the snow and the seasons changing and all that. I thought that was going to happen, but the food thing really just stopped being a thing.
It did, which is weird because it was like such a focal point. And I think too, like the fact that there's obviously a lighthouse in the middle of the forest is already like a weird thing. But the town,
Sure.
when Tabitha wakes up and looks outside the window, there's
mountains all around.
No, isn't there water? Doesn't she see
It's like
water?
a river or something, right?
I thought it could have either been a lake or like a coastline potentially.
I mean, the only reason a lighthouse would be around is if there's an ocean,
right? But that's what
I'd
I'm
have
meaning.
to look
Like
at
it'd be
it
really
again.
interesting. I would too, but I think just my like remembering of it was that it might have been like a coastal, like northeastern kind of, like that's what it looked like to me.
Sure.
But yeah. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be literally anywhere, but this kid pushes her out the window and is like, it's the only way. I'm sorry, it's the only way.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Something like that. So, it's the only way. So, she's found in the woods.
By some hikers.
So, she's out in a terrain like she would be in.
Yeah.
Now, falling from that height, you die. The chances of you surviving, especially with her walking around.
I know.
Like, maybe you could survive, but your bones would be broken.
And it's only like a couple days have passed, too.
Sure. It's only been 3 days. So, there's no way she was pushed from that height and survived. Because even if, like, pushing her through that window pushed her out of the bubble.
Right.
Or whatever, she's not surviving that drop. It's a 50-foot drop at least. It's 5 stories. You're not gonna be able to not break bones over like 35, 40 feet. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
So she should be dead. So I wonder, as we were talking about, and of course this is gonna be probably the most common theory, is like you have to die to leave. Now, does it have to be at the hands of these kids? Does it have to be from the lighthouse? Does it, like, is that the exit point? You know, it's like, because of course there's a correlation between going to the light, right, and dying, right?
Of course, yeah.
Right, so the lighthouse is the representation of, you know, the light of death. The tunnel of light is for heaven or the afterlife or whatever, right? So she heads towards the light, and then she's like has like a fall and is returned to earth. It's like she went to heaven and then was pushed back to earth, which would more go towards this limbo idea.
Yes, it would.
That they're in limbo, then they ascend to like the light in heaven, and he's like, not yet, and he pushes her back to real life.
Sure.
Right, out of limbo and out of the gates to heaven or whatever. So
yeah. I also wonder if they're gonna find Tabitha's like a body or something, like Jim and them, because Victor knows that she went to the lighthouse. But he doesn't know where that is, right?
No.
So they could go out looking for her. Or if she's just going to be vanished, like there's no body, no trace.
Boyd's the only one that's seen the lighthouse other than her.
Yeah.
Of the characters that we're familiar with.
Right. But Victor knew that that's where she was going. Is what I mean, Jim knew as well, too, right? Like, they know that that's why she went out. So I'm just interested to see if there'll be anything. I don't think there will be a body. I don't think there'll be anything there.
That'd be pretty cool,
but
though.
It would be really weird if they find her dead body, but then she's like...
What I would like to see, and I would think would be cool, is if when the monsters come to town, one of them looks like Tabitha.
That would be
and
really
those
cool.
are all the people who got out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be bizarre. I wouldn't even know what to make of that. Like, because the whole thing is like, why?
Because
right?
she could run into that Smiley guy out in the world.
Like, see him, he's like a doctor or something. I thought that would be weird. But like, that's why I would it's like, why? Why would the people that escape, why would they be monsters? Why would it look
because
like,
they leave their husks behind to be taken.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So their bodies get taken over by like those bugs or whatever force.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That would make sense then. Yeah. That'd be very interesting. I don't know.
But there's a lot of those monsters.
There is a lot.
And they live down underground where the kids were sacrificed.
Yeah.
And maybe the people who were part of the cult that sacrificed the kids got cursed by killing kids. And they were, they were cursed in this way that like they had to live in darkness and feed off of people's organs. They had like a never-ending hunger for like organs, and then like because of the friggin' curse, like the land is now cursed too, and anyone who like finds their way to this place can't leave. But there is also this like thing where they're talking about when it comes to Boyd's wife, whether it's hard to take anything she says seriously, but she talks about like they feed off of hope, right? It's not pain, it's not death. It's like it's your hope, which kind of makes sense to a degree because like things get bad when they try to get out, and like just the act of trying to get out and the unity, the unified effort of like trying to get that antenna on the roof, that creates hope.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Everybody's super
or
hopeful.
Tabitha digging in the ground under the house, like that creates hope. But then there's another side that's trying to stop them from having hope and crushing them with a house.
Right.
So maybe that's the side that's like trying to get them to die because they're like, death is the only way out of here.
Yeah.
Right? But they can only inadvertently do stuff. They can't like kill them.
Right.
Right? But like, so
but
I mean,
like,
death is
the monsters kill
because
them.
it would kind of go towards what was Sarah was saying, like, right? Because that would kind of make sense to a degree. Maybe she's getting voices from the good side. That's like, hey, if you kill some people, it's the way out. And it's like maybe she was reading it. Maybe she was reading the information wrong. Killing them was how they got out.
Not like you kill somebody and it's like
and then like
a
ultimately
sacrifice for everybody else to get out.
Right, like ultimately it was going to lead to Sarah's death. Like if you do this, not only will you get your brother out, but then the town's probably going to rally together, put you in the box, kill you, and then you'll get out and be with your brother. But then because of their compassion and because that they thought they could use her hope, right? Because of that, they kept her alive. But in any other way, in any other scenario, they would have killed her, because we've seen before if somebody does that kind of stuff, they kill them. They put them in the box, right? And so they could be saying like, hey, if you kill your brother, if you kill these people, like you're not only setting them free, but ultimately they're going to set you free too by killing you. And that's the way out. So they could not, that might not actually be a lie. And that might be coming from the place, the people who are like sending the messages of like, you know, the only way out of here is death. Stop trying to figure this place out.
Just die.
You know, but yeah, like if they can talk to them,
of course,
it's like, why not just say, but I don't know, because it would be too hard. Because you can't tell someone don't just kill yourself.
Right.
You'll get out. Because people will be like, yeah, right.
Right. And especially when there's like, you know, a kid there and all that stuff, like it would be so hard.
It'd be like, you're one of the monsters. You're trying to get me to die.
Absolutely.
So you can eat my freaking organs when I'm dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it'd be impossible to convince someone like if you die you leave, because when you leave you can't communicate again. But I had guessed that Tabitha is going to figure out a way to communicate with Jim through his antenna radio.
Yeah, I definitely think, I mean, she's going to for sure be trying to communicate with him. Yeah. And as you said, or try to find a way back there. You know, which will be really weird. But I'm just very curious for now, like everything with Tabitha, like what is it the real world? Like what if it's not? And like is it a different reality, like where something is like slightly different? Like all of that I'm super curious about, you know, and definitely excited for the next season, although I am a little worried it's going to be a long time coming.
Long time, yeah. The writer's strike, it could be. But they already kind of had it all done, right? Mm-hmm. They were like ready to film. I think the writer's strike shut it down, but at least it's like ready to go. So it's not like the writer's strike has to happen, then they get out, then they go to the drawing boards. No, like they're already well into production on it, so it's already written. You know, obviously the cast is already done. Like all that stuff I think is ready to go. They already have like the whole town and everything. Ready to rock and roll. So I think once like the writer's strike is over, if they even did that, I'm pretty sure they shut down production on it because of the writer's strike. Most places did. Let's hope not, though. Let's hope because the writers already got paid.
Right. I mean, let's hope that they were already treated written. Well. And
it's like, well, let's make the show. It's already written. Why not? And then once the writer's strike's over, they can start work on season 4. Right. But yeah, I do think that it'll be cool though. I will be that excites me the most for sure. Now we have something to really look forward to in season 3 for me is Tabitha on the outside and talking to people, going to the police, you know, finding clues, trying to figure out where they were, trying to see what part of the road, see if she can find the tree again, you know, investigating, like, is there any felled trees in this area that had to be picked up, or like, and she'll look into all these people, Donna and everything, and like try to see, like, talk to their families or whatever, and say like, so I'm really, really excited for that side of the story.
Yeah, me too.
And to see what the 3 are going to act like after they've come back.
Like fully,
So that's mostly it. I
think that is,
all the major things that are cool to talk about. Obviously there's other little things, but I don't really think they're super relevant unless we're forgetting something. Yeah. Because for some reason we never take notes on this one.
We don't.
And we just wing this show.
And then we like go do a bunch of other stuff, and then we come back and review.
There's definitely been enough episodes now that we've discussed where at the end, like the next day or in the comments, I read something, I'm like, forgot to mention that. You know, so well, you know, it is what it is. We're a stream of consciousness channel.
We are.
Enterprise, and that ain't gonna change. We just like to have a real casual conversation with you fine fellas and ladies. Yeah. So thanks for joining us through this season. It's a shame it's come to an end. We're going to have to pick up a new one.
Yeah, I don't know what new show we'll be watching.
These week-to-week shows are definitely fun to discuss.
Yeah, we really like them.
Yellow Jackets happened to end right as From was beginning. It was like perfect timing. So now we got to look for something that's airing week to week. We're watching Silo, but that's got one episode left.
We're not gonna review that. I don't think.
It's obviously not horror.
Yeah.
But what upcoming horror shows are you guys looking forward to that you would like to see us cover on the channel? In case we're not thinking of something. Unfortunately, something like a Netflix series or a Prime series that drops all at once isn't going to be as enticing because obviously all the episodes are up.
Right.
And we don't have like the week to discuss
stuff. Yeah.
and theorize and all that stuff. So, what upcoming week-to-week shows in the horror genre are coming soon? Obviously, the big one, the one that I will be the most excited to talk about whenever the hell it happens, is Crystal Lake. Mm-hmm. Right, that's the one.
That's going to be massive.
And then, of course, we get Chucky Season 3 this year.
So exciting.
That's going to be big, of course. Fall of the House of Usher will come out sometime this year, but that's, dropping all at once. And unfortunately, I didn't do Bly Manor. I might have done Bly Manor, but I didn't do the discussions on Haunting of Hill House and all that because, it is what it is. But, I don't know. I'm going to have to look into it. What other
we'll
shows
have to research and see.
are coming out? So let us know. We'll look in the comments below. But besides that, what do you guys think of the season? What are your theories for next season? Were you pleased with this? Are you kind of 50-50? Are you like, I'm done with the show, I'm out, and I hate you guys too? Just let us know. And we'll see you guys, we'll see you guys tonight for Monster Monday.
Yes, we will.
We can finish up this damn Resident Evil series finally.
Yay!
One more week. All right, guys.